there by that little tree. Oh, that's not a bad one. Well, hi there, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the American Outdoorsman. Well, you can see what I'm fishing for. Springtime crappie. I'm at Clinton Lake, just a little bit west of Lawrence, Kansas. And I tell you what, there's no funner time to catch these fish than early spring. They get up in this shallow water and oh my goodness, they are hungry. Hey, you know, I've been fishing for crappie all of my life. I have no fonder memories than the days that I spent with my dad and my mom and the rest of my family chasing these little fish. And I wouldn't trade those days for anything in the world. Well, you stay tuned today. I'm going to show you why I'm just hopelessly addicted to those fun little fish. So you get ready. We're going to get started right after we take this quick time out. Here's one. Get away from there. Oh my gosh, look at the mouth. Oh, golly, what? There's a nice crappie. Now that's a partially spawned out female. Man, oh man, look at the mouth on that thing. Wow. Pretty crappie. Well, she's dropped some of her eggs, you can see. So you go back and get rid of the rest of them. Wow, isn't that pretty? Look at her. Wow. Springtime crappie fishing. That, my friends, is what it's all about. And right now, once again, I'm fishing here at Clinton Lake, but just a little bit west of Lawrence, Kansas. I'm fishing up one of the creek arms. And you know, early spring fishing, there's so many places you can catch them. But I really like to head up the creeks and up the rivers. You get up in an area like that, the water all narrows down. It concentrates the fish. It just makes it that much easier to find them. In the spring, you know, you just don't have near as the volume of water in these creeks and rivers as you do out in the big lake. But look for these fish early. The water temperature, when it reaches up into the 50-degree range, that's when they're going to start moving into these areas. A creek like this, they'll even start earlier than that. Just right after ice out, you can get fish up in creeks like this. There's one. Whoa, come here, baby. Wow. Decent crappie there, another female. You know, springtime, as fun as it is to fish, it can be the most frustrating time of the year to fish too. You know, we have so many cold fronts that come through in the spring, and that can just flat screw up fishing. Well, some things to keep in mind if you're faced with one of those mini cold fronts that always seem to come through. Pay attention to the weather, number one, and if a front does come through, head over to the side of the lake where that front's coming from. Normally that's going to be the north side of the lake. Seek out those protected areas. If that wind comes out of the north and cools things down, well, if you're on the north side of the lake, that water doesn't mix up near as much. The water temperature doesn't change near as much, and those are the types of areas that are not going to be quite as affected by those cold fronts when they do come through. Another thing, after a cold front does come through, those fish can get pretty lethargic. You got to do some pretty serious talking to talk them into biting your lure. So slow down your presentation. Go more to a vertical presentation rather than casting. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Oh, that's her sister. But go to a vertical presentation on a post-cold front. Sometimes you'll just have to hang that lure in front of their face for what seems to be forever. And I'm talking, you know, a couple of minutes sometimes, minute and a half, just holding your lure in one spot in order to trick them into biting. But those are some things to remember after a cold front. Work that protected side, number one. Downsize your lure. Vertical jig. There's another one. Oh, that's a good one there. Oh, look at the size of that crappie. Wow! That's a pretty good female there. Well, that's just a good little wad right there. Look at that one. That's a little over a pound. Yeah, there's a nice crappie there. But what I'm fishing over there, this spot here, oh, you're so pretty. This is just a little cluster of logs. I'm about 10 feet off of the river channel, the creek channel, which is 10 feet deep. These are some logs that are about 1.5 feet to 2 foot deep. And I'm just real simply flipping over alongside the brush there. There's one. Oh, man, is he frisky? Yeah, sure enough, there's the male. That's a decent male too. Well, that's interesting. You know, I just caught those 3 females right off of that log. And when you get something like that this time of year, you know that that male is not too far away. And when you got big females like that, there's bound to be some big male fish there too. So what I did, I just went up to the back side on the shallow side of that stick right there, and he wasn't coming out and being real aggressive. So I just dipped back behind it and held the jig there, and he came out and popped it. But I had talked nice to him though. He wasn't in a chasing mood, but you know, it's interesting. The female was out just a little bit deeper, and the male was up on the shallow side on the back side, and I'm sure he's making a nest. And you know, it's so important this time of year. You know, this is spawning season. You know, release some of those male fish, release some fish, period. But it's so important to let those males go because they guard that nest. And if you take that male away from that nest, well, the hatch is gone. Those eggs will not survive. So it's just really important. You know, there's plenty of time throughout the rest of the year to catch and keep some fish, but let go some of those males. It's really going to make a difference in the future of our fishing.
Don't go away. The American Outdoorsman will be right back.